from different unions and members around the world about what the possibilities for getting insured when they were covering civil disturbances in their own country, when they were going to conflict zones. And we had a look around. We realized that it was a confusing market, and that many of the policies that were on offer were not really fit for purpose. So for example, journalists from certain countries couldn't take out certain policies. Some of them had maximum time limits of 31 days. Some of them had some fairly severe restrictions about the kind of areas that people could go. And of course, in many cases, there was a significant cost factor that meant that they were simply out of reach of most freelance journalists in particular who were traveling we tried to look to see if we could come up with a policy that gave access for all, so all countries with as few exceptions as possible, that included war, civil war, terrorism, rebellion, that covered journalists in countries like Iraq, the Central African Republic, Syria, and that it was for journalists that there were no differences, no matter how old you were, no matter whether you were freelance or employed, whether you were a reporter or a fixer or camera crew. And when we began to look around, we also wanted to try and make sure that it was affordable, and in particular that it was easy for journalists to be able to access and understand the types of cover that they were taking out. So on that basis we began discussions, and I think we discussed for, Hugh will correct me if I'm wrong, but a year or more, trying to get exactly the right kind of policies in order to be able to offer something that we felt met the needs of journalists, and that as I say, that was easily accessible. And important for us that it was a policy supported by a specialist emergency assistance company as well, in this case Northcott Global Solutions, but that had local support and that was able to act quickly in the event that any journalist needed help and assistance when they were abroad. So it was on that basis that we had the discussions, that we reached an agreement, and I think around 5 months ago now launched the scheme. And Hugh will go into more detail about the actual scheme, but so far we've had a positive response from our members and affiliates to the scheme. I think some of them would like to see us develop some other insurance policies to go alongside it, for example ones covering people's equipment, in particular for people with camera crew and things like that, but that's certainly something that we'll look into. But for now we're focused on this accidental death and disablement, emergency sickness and healthcare, evacuation and repatriation, which are all key elements for journalists, both at home and abroad, and in some cases at home too.
Okay, thank you very much, Jeremy. Hugh, maybe you can explain what is so specific about insurance for journalists and explain our audience how they can get insured.
Of course. Well, thank you, Jeremy. That was a very comprehensive introduction. I feel as if I've got little to add to what you said, but I will do my best to carry on.
I don't believe that.
My name is Hugh Brownfit. I am the Managing Director of a company called Insurance For Limited. What Insurance For does, and what I have always done, is specialise in insuring people or associations or groups where insurance has traditionally been very difficult to get. People don't know how to get it, and most insurance brokers don't know where to go to get it. And this
Sorry,
is what
Hugh, can I just interrupt you for a second, because we have a question here from Brian Oliver, and I want to say that we can hear very well everyone, all the speakers, so it's just probably a problem from your end.
From my
Sorry.
end, can you
No,
hear
no,
me?
no, no. I'm just responding to a question of someone that is struggling apparently.
Okay.
Please continue. Sorry, Hugh.
Okay. So we specialise in insuring the uninsurable. So when we began this project with the IFJ, it was over a year ago, but it is in fact a very complicated project. Journalists, by definition, go to places where the insurance industry doesn't like to insure people. And what journalists do is often put themselves in danger, which to give us a story, which again insurers don't like. So traditionally, if you went to any insurance broker as a journalist, he'd very politely squeeze your hand and show you the door. So when we began to research this project with the IFJ, we realized that there was a requirement for journalists and also requirement for fixers and stringers and local media, because everyone is bringing the news. We're a very news-hungry world. And as I say, journalists put themselves through extreme danger and they need to be insured. When most people go on holiday, they take travel insurance, and if they become sick or injured, they have access to healthcare, where there's a low risk. Whilst journalists often travelling on planes to similar locations and then heading off elsewhere can be in extreme danger and have found themselves uninsured. And there's nothing worse than being injured or ill in a country where you don't know who to call or how to get assistance. And taking the lead from Jeremy, we specifically looked to find insurers who can provide the cover, but also can provide the support where if somebody is injured or ill, then they can make a call and they can get recovered from the point of incident. So we have two main products and a third one which we want to talk to you about. The first one is insurance for journalists. Now, when we say journalists, it's any member of the media on assignment. It can be a camera crew, production crew, but this is for journalists who are leaving their own country and going on assignment to another country. And we know that journalists travel, their plans change. So to make things easy, we don't say we can insure you in Syria, but we can't insure you in Iraq, or what we want our clients to feel is that wherever they go following the story, they can get insurance. And to do that, we've broken the world down into 5 risk-rated areas. Extreme is the highest, and that's countries such as Afghanistan, Central African Republic, Iran, Iraq, Libya, Yemen, and others. The low zone is basically Western Europe, United States of America, and other countries. Medium might include Bolivia, Congo. High can be Cameroon, Colombia, and severe DRC, Guinea, India, parts of India. And the important point is that if a journalist takes a policy in, say, a severe zone, it also covers them in all the other countries in the severe zone and the high zone, the medium zone, and the low zone. So there's no need for multiple policies. You can take one policy for the journey, and if you need to extend the cover because the story takes you there for longer, you can simply go online and buy more cover. Some insurers require you to return back to your home country before you can buy cover. Not with us. You can buy it on your phone. And we are only interested in where a journalist is traveling to, not where they're traveling from. So you can have journalists from North America, from journalists from Africa, journalists from Iraq. If they're all going to Afghanistan, they're all paying the same premium. So I know some insurers charge rates based on not only where they're from, but also where they're going. We don't care where you're from. We just want to know where you're going. And there is nowhere in the world we can't insure you. Even North Korea, every country in the world is insurable. So the cover itself is effectively into different sections. There's accidental death and disablement is one section. And by disablement, we mean loss of or loss of use of hands, eyes, limbs. So for a photojournalist, gets a flash blast in the face, renders them blind, then that would be a claim. We then have the second section, which is sickness and accident medical expenses. So if a journalist with one of our policies gets sick or injured, then that is a separate policy. And the third policy is emergency evacuation from the point of incident. I must stress that. So if someone gets injured on the ground in a dangerous part of the world, our insurance is designed for people to come and get you. That's Northcott Global Solutions. From that point of incident, and then take you to care, and then move you on to safer care. And it's relatively cheap. You know, it's 12, our policies are in euros or dollars, but euros, 12 euros a week for 100,000 euros cover in the low zone. So what that means is that if a journalist were to become injured and require healthcare, they have 100,000 euros cover. If they then needed to be evacuated and repatriated, that is another £100,000 cover. And sadly, should they die as a result of the incident within 12 months, that is another 100,000 cover. So a 100,000 euro policy is 3 separate 100,000 euro policies. Now, our most expensive countries are the extreme, and that is still cheap at 52 euros or dollars a week for 100,000 cover. So we are not talking expensive policies, and often a family travel insurance is not a great deal difference in premium. Policies are bought by the week. It's really important that journalists, when they travel, they don't have much money. I don't want to insure people for a year. I just want to insure them when they're on assignment. And they can buy by the week, and if they go away, and they can buy 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks, can have up to a year in weeks. And if they have a policy for, say, 5 weeks, and then the story takes them elsewhere, they can simply go online through their phone and buy extra cover. It's really flexible, and it's available to everybody. All you need is a debit or credit card. The maximum we can insure people for is 500,000 euros or dollars. We can go above that if people ask us, but we are into instant policy issue. There's no human involvement at all in the buying process. So in the middle of the night, you take a policy out. If you get injured 20 minutes later, you are emailed all the details about who to call if you have a claim, and the claims partner, NGS, know you're insured as soon as you've got your policy documents. We issue policy currently in 2 currencies, dollars and euros. And if you buy a policy in dollars, the sum insured is in dollars. And if you buy a policy in euros, the sum insured is in euros. Currently, we are in an English website, but the final stages of introducing a Spanish version of the website, and then we'll be introducing further language during the year, including Arabic. I can't emphasize enough the point about evacuation from point of incident to the care provider. There's an insurance case where there was an oil crew in West Africa, and there was a very bad car crash, and one of the insured people, not one of my insured people, was injured, and they called the insurer, who sent a jet to the local airport. That was 500 kilometers away, and there was no provision to get the injured person to the airport, and as such they sadly died en route. So cover starts at the point of incident, and NGS has worldwide representation, people on the ground everywhere. They're very experienced and one of the industry leaders in this service. Really important is the fact that if you need to be taken to a care provider, the insurer can pay directly to the care provider. We are aware that should one of our clients become injured and get taken to an American field hospital, they require a $60,000 deposit before they will accept you for care. Now, the insurer can pay that directly to the American field hospital or any other provider. So the only payment any of our clients are personally responsible for is the deductible or excess, which is 250 euros or dollars for a sickness claim. So It really is that is your liability. Above that, the NGS and our insurer take care of the rest of the claim. The excess applies to every claim. So if you have more than one claim in your insured period, you have another excess to pay. And we do provide a 10% discount to all IPC holders when people buy online, and I'll show that in a minute. There's a discount code that IPC holders have, and when they put that code in, it generates a 10% discount on the premium automatically. The IPC holders are the only clients of ours who receive this discount. So I mentioned that the policy is bought online through your phone. So what I've done here is some screenshots from my iPhone last night. So it's a really simple process. There are 6 stages. The first stage is, where do you live? And in this case, I put in Belgium. Doesn't matter. It has no effect on the premium. It's purely for our own records, as we need to know where our clients are from. Where are you traveling to? Now, in this case, I put in the Republic of South Sudan, which is, I think that's one of our extreme zone countries. And I wanted a 3-week policy for €300,000, for euros, sorry, for €300,000. Now, the start date is automatic. It defaults to the date that you are online, and then you can select any date you like up to 6 months into the future. So the date you want the policy to start is up to you. And then you click on the button saying obtain quote, and then it pops up with, in this case, the premium of €334. You'll see above this there's the promotion code box, which is empty. But had I put in the IPC discount code, then that would reduce that premium by 10%. Okay, it's all automatic. It's worked into the prices. So once you click buy now, then that simply takes you through the details of your own details, who you want should you die, who you want the claim benefit paid to, a declaration, and then you pay online and you get your documents. So it's all online, any time of the day, night or day, anywhere in the world, and the premium is solely based on where you're going. So we have no geographical restrictions. So it doesn't matter where you're going. Now, we do appreciate that journalists often are going to countries where they want to remain incognito. So our data is very secure, and we put it down into zones on the policy. But as far as our clients are concerned, if they put down they're going to North Korea or wherever, nobody can access that information. We have particularly good security to stop anybody hacking into our systems to try to see where clients are. We have cover in hostile regions, Afghanistan, Syria, anywhere. It doesn't matter where you're going. We are conscious that a lot of journalists go to Afghanistan. In fact, all our claims for injuries have occurred from Afghanistan and Syria. We do cover war and terrorism. We're also covering with military personnel in a helicopter as a passenger or any other vehicle and being embedded. We had an inquiry from a client who wanted to know if they became injured as an embedded photographer, did it matter where the bullet came from, whether it be friend or foe? And we both agreed that avoiding the bullet was the preferred option, and it did not matter. It doesn't matter to us at all. And the cover is 24 hours a day, and a claim need not be related to work. If we had a claim once on a different scheme where a man was clearing out his gutters and fell off the ladder, nothing to do what his job was, it was just an accident. So we stress that claims are not work related. The most important part of any insurance is nothing to do with the paper, it's all to do with getting support and payment. And that's why we use Northport Global Solutions, who are a specialist global support company, and they have a 24-hour-a-day, 7-day-a-week operations centre and a default operations centre, so that if one was a power cut or one were to become out of action, cover continues in a separate location in a separate part of the country. They're multilingual, and they have people, as I say, on the ground in every country in the world there to take control of a claim or an incident. We had an example for one of our partners who was in the Middle East, and we set up a Skype call where they staged an incident, and they called the helpline, and the Skype camera was recording the screens in the control center, and they could see that as soon as they called the number and identified a risk, they identified him on a screen, and there was already people in the area who were in situ to go and attend to them. And their service standard is designed to be at the point of incident within 3 hours of the notification of the claim. So their centre is open 24 hours a day, and their service standard is to be with the injured or sick person within 24 hours, within 3 hours of any identification. When we were discussing with our clients and our journalists, we realised that there is a whole section of fixers, local media, stringers who work with our journalists, but they're employed by the journalists or the media group, and as such they wanted them to be insured. So we're about to launch, I'm just launching this today actually with the IFJ, a separate policy called insuranceforfixers.com. Now, we realised that when our journalists were saying, could we insure our man in Iraq? We couldn't do that because the main insurance for journalists policy covers people on assignment, i.e. outside their country. Well, when these journalists head into an area, they are employing people in their own country. And as such, we needed to create a policy specifically for fixers, stringers, or anybody who was employed by the journalist or media group during that time. And we realised that affordability and ease of access is, again, it's really important. So we charge $5, it's a dollar policy, we charge $5 a day for $100,000 a day, cover anywhere in the world. So it's the same price anywhere in the world, whether it's Iraq or Africa or North America. North America is an area where it's difficult to get insurance, it's the same premium worldwide. The cover is similar to the insurance for journalists. It covers accidental death, and it covers accident medical expenses, including evacuation from the point of incident, including payment directly to the care provider, and the same excess. The only difference between the two policies is that we don't cover disability and we don't cover sickness. So if you had a journalist and a stringer or a fixer in the same vehicle having involved in the same incident, they would have similar cover provided by the same care providers. So we're not going to have to call two different people to report the same loss. One phone call reports a loss for everybody. Buying cover for a fixer is different to a journalist's. Journalists go online through their phone, their tablet or their PC, and they buy it themselves and they pay with their card. For a fixer, it's different. A media organisation or journalist or anybody employing a fixer goes online to insuranceforfixers.com to register themselves as a partner. It doesn't cost anything. Then we will then email that partner with a unique login and password. So they then go back into the website and they put in the, when they log in, the system knows who they are and the partner, who the partner is, and they simply put down who the fixer is they want to insure, who the benefit goes to in case they die, and the fixer's email address, and then they click submit. The cover starts when they want the cover to start, and the fixer, as well as the partner, gets an email straight away to say that they are covered for $100,000 from Tuesday to Thursday or whatever it is, and what to do in the event of a claim. So we give the fixer the same information regarding claims as the main journalist scheme. The only difference is that the fixer isn't paying for it. At the end of the month, we bill that partner with the number of days that they have bought cover for their fixers during that month. As I say, it's the same, it's $5 a day, $100,000 cover, and we can insure them for as long as they like. It can be from 1 day to a month. It's the same premium per day. As I say, it's the same insurer and it's the same claim support company as the main scheme. So there's only one phone call to make if more than one people get injured in the same incident. So insurance is only as good as the claims that are paid, and I'm pleased to say that every claim we have received so far we have met. We haven't turned any claims down because we really don't have any exclusions. The only real exclusion we have is don't carry a gun. And because we don't want to be insuring mercenaries, we do want to be insuring journalists. And having a gun or a weapon with you would preclude a claim being paid. So the first claim we had was a dreadful disease. A journalist embedded with the Taliban got a parasitic infestation of his gut from eating food that really shouldn't have been eaten. The Taliban took him in a pickup truck and dumped him outside a hospital at the front door, literally. The hospital staff came out, found this poor chap lying on the ground in a pretty bad state. They took him inside. He gave them the information about our cover. They phoned up to get authority to proceed. He received treatment in Afghanistan. He then returned home on his own. He didn't need repatriating by us, but then he had antiseptics back at home for the remainder of his treatment. We paid the claim and he's now back with the Taliban. The second claim we had was from a film crew in West Africa who all got severe food poisoning, and they were pretty distressed and they didn't know what to do. And the important thing about this claim is that they called NGS, the support company, who arranged for them all to be taken by taxi, not ambulance, to the local hospital, where they were all treated for the same food poisoning. They remained there for a week, and then when they were recovering, they decided to stay in the country to complete their filming. So they didn't want to come home, they just wanted to stay where they were. And the third claim, we've had more than this, these are just 3 claims. This is a journalist hit in the arm by shrapnel from an explosion in Syria. She was taken to hospital for an immediate emergency treatment because she was in quite a bad way, and then she was moved to a safer hospital for further treatment and recuperation. All these claims were met by our insurer, and all our clients seem pretty happy with the service that they got. So the third policy we want to talk about is we have the main insurance for journalist policy, we have the insurance for fixers policy, but we now want to work with the IFJ and the EFJ members to create policies for their membership. There was an article in the paper this week saying that in Ukraine they want all journalists to be insured as a legal requirement, and we can create policies specifically for that purpose. The policies that we offer now for journalists and fixers, the cover was based around what we identified through our discussions with the IFJ, that the cover was required. But if a specific association wants an individual cover for their members, which is different, based around a premium, we can afford €50 a head for a year, how much cover can we get? Then we want to do that. We want to be able to provide all the IFJ and EFJ members with access to insurance based on what their own requirements are. So just because we have the existing policies, we're not stuck with that. We can arrange cover for you for whatever you want. So please get in contact with me. Jeremy has my contact details. These are my contact details. That's my mobile phone number. And I would love to work with you to provide any insurances that you may require.
Thank you very much, Hugh, for this very comprehensive presentation of the insurance. It's now time for people who want to ask questions to please ask those questions. You have on your webinar board a section that is called questions, and you can write this question. Unfortunately, you cannot speak, but you can write your questions, and we're going to read them out and ask them to either Hugh or Jeremy. While you're doing this, I just wanted to clarify just a few points. First of all, where can you get the insurance? It's also available on our website. If you go on the top right corner of the IFJ website, which is www.ifj.org, you click on the insurance button on your top right hand side and you can directly go to the insurance website and you get all the explanation you need. Hugh mentioned the 10% discount for IPC holders. I can see that, that there are a couple of people in the attendees that I don't know. I'm not sure they are members. So just to clarify that, IPC means the International Press Card. It's a card that the IFJ delivers on the request of its affiliates. So if you need this card, which is widely recognized, you need to ask your union to order it for you. And if there are, and I can see that amongst yourselves some union members that want to advertise the insurance, we also have a couple of visuals that we can share with you in 3 languages. So don't hesitate to be in touch with us at communications@ifj.org. Now, looking at the questions, I have a first question from Thoralf Sandeker. Do you offer cover for lost equipment as part of this insurance solution or as an add-on? So maybe Hugh, you could answer that?
Yes, at the moment we don't offer it, but it is an option we are planning to have as an add-on during this year. We're planning 2 add-ons. The first add-on is, as you mentioned, equipment insurance, and we need to get some advice from the insurer how best to do that. And the second add-on we're looking to have is for kidnap and ransom cover. Kidnap and ransom is something which is always discussed, but it's often hard for individuals to get. It's quite easy for groups of people to get through their employer, but often quite difficult for individuals. So we're looking at having a very simple kidnap and ransom product as an option.
And this, I guess the same goes for stolen equipment?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Sorry, Pamela, just on the kidnap and ransom, I mean, we did consider when we were setting up the scheme whether or not we should have kidnap and ransom cover as part of the scheme. The problem with that is that there is a risk of kidnap and ransom in certain countries. It is much lower in others, and if you create it as part of the scheme, you raise the general cost of the scheme, thereby making it less accessible to people. And that's why we're looking at it as an add-on for those who are going to areas of higher risk, may well wish to be able to take it out. And I think certainly it would be useful to have the equipment add-on, because that is probably, since we launched the scheme, the biggest question that has come back. Even if it is not somebody who is a photographer with a lot of expensive equipment or camera crew with expensive equipment, most of the time journalists are traveling with laptops and smartphones and everything that they want to be covered as well. So I think for us that will be a very important add-on.
Yeah, it's Hugh here. I understand that. For the kidnap and ransom, from our point of view, we are looking to partner with a company who specialises in negotiating kidnap cases. So from our point of view, it is verification of the kidnap and then employing a professional negotiating company to negotiate the release. And that's the research that we're doing now.
Okay.
Thank you. Is there any other question? I can't see any more. I just wanted to add, because I can see there are some Spanish speakers, some English speakers. I don't know if there are some French speakers in the attendees, but we're also going to have the website in French. So that means Spanish, Arabic, and French in a couple of months.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, where we are now is the Spanish translation has been done with the website. We're now the website is part of it. We then go onto the online buying page and then the document issue page. So we've done the website. We're now on changing the online buying page. It's a separate company who hosts that for us and the document issue. So that is pretty close to being released.
Thank you. Jeremy, Hugh, would you like to have a last word? Is there anything else that you would like to add before we close this seminar?
I mean, I think from my point of view that there's two things. This is a new product which we have developed, and the add-ons kind of recognize that it will be a changing product depending on demand and depending on experience. So we really want feedback, both we want positive feedback to encourage others to be part of the insurance scheme, but also if there is any negative feedback, and we hope there isn't, but if there is, we want that as well, so that we can learn from the experience of people using it and maybe make some changes to the scheme as we might need to. So.
Okay, message well received. I would like to thank you both for taking the time to speak in this webinar, and this webinar has been made possible by our affiliate DJV in Germany, so I would like to thank them very much for hosting this. If this has been useful for you, don't hesitate to talk about it. We may run a separate webinar another time for other people that are interested in knowing more about the scheme, and also bearing in mind that we'll have some new add-on. It could be interesting to inform a wider audience. Sorry again about the disturbance at the beginning, and thank you, Michael, for fixing all this. Thank you, everyone, and have a nice day.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.